Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 711th edition of the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. I'm your host, Daniel Feuerstein. I'll give you an American perspective of our clubs, leagues, players, national team, and other fabulous moments. Get your daily reading from me and other writers over at Beyond the 90, at beyondthe90.substack.com, and locally over at baddogsports.com for all your New York soccer action. The chat room on YouTube is open. Come on in, discuss amongst yourselves if you like. If you have a question for me, I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. And please don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube for your daily dose of American soccer content. Before we begin tonight, I just want to send my condolences, obviously, to the Commisso family. As we all know, Rocco Commisso, who is, of course, the owner of Fiorentina in Italy. Believe they are still in Serie A. And, of course, he was also owning the Cosmos. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties here, unfortunately. I guess we're going to try and get this thing taken care of, hopefully. 1 second. I'm going to try and see if I can get this situated. We can here. Whoop, and there it goes. Once again. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I hope everyone can hear me as I am trying to get this thing situated. Let me refresh this and we can get back to it. So give me 1 moment, folks, if you can hear me. I'm going to refresh here. All right, here we go. We're back on again. Sorry about that, folks. I had some technical issues, so I refreshed the camera, and hopefully we will not have that happen. Oh, maybe we'll have it again. Well, there we go again. And, oh, there it goes. All right, let's see. Maybe we got everything squared away. Let me try again here. And there it goes again. See if I can try and try that again. All right. Come on. I guess I'm going to. All right. Let's see here now. Let's see here. Oh, no. No. Maybe. No, I'm having technical difficulties here, folks. Let's see. Trying to find a way to. All right. Well, it looks like we're just going to have to wing it like this. I'm just going to have to keep it open like this, and hopefully we won't have any more issues. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's the show here. Well, we're having some difficulties with the camera at this point in time. So we'll do that. Now see here, bring it back up. No. So we're having some difficulties here with the camera. So let me see if I can open it. As we're trying to get this camera thing situated here. Apologies for the difficulties. Trying to get this thing taken care of as fast as I can. I can just find a way to just get this thing going. So I'm just going to try and refresh this. I'll be right back. Hello, 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 hello. I know you can hear me, everybody. Obviously, you can hear me. The problem is you can't see me. And it's really disheartening that I'm having these difficulties right now with the camera. Just don't understand what's going on here. I'm trying my best to get this done and taken care of here. Once again. Not expecting how this was going to go today for the show. But it's one of those things you have technical difficulties here trying to get this camera to work. So just give me a couple of minutes here and I can try and get this thing taken care of if I can. I don't want to all of a sudden have no show here with you guys. But I'm going to see here what's going to happen. Because, we want to get a show going. I have to refresh here. So just give me a few minutes. All right. So maybe I have something here. I'm not going to close it all the way, but I'm just going to lower it so you can see me because I'm trying to make sure this camera works, obviously. But there we go. So, we have some interesting things, of course, here for the show. Unfortunately, lost a lot of time trying to fix the camera situation, and there goes the camera again. Once it's working, then it's not. So I have some technical issues here as we are having some problems here, but don't worry, I will be right back. It's just been, don't understand why I'm having these problems all of a sudden, but I have to disconnect the camera, maybe go a different way here. So here we go. I might have to disconnect the camera here and I'll hopefully be on the other camera. So hang on. So can you hear me? I think everyone can hear me. I'm disconnecting the camera. Let me see here. I can refresh the situation. All right. I think we got it here. So I had to go with the other camera, and the other camera is, of course, on my laptop. I had to open it. So here we are. I had to open up that laptop for you. And here we go. And first of all, I apologize for the technical difficulties right at this point in time. So, all right, the main camera is closed. We're using the webcam now from my laptop. So hopefully everyone will be enjoying the show this way, fixing, of course, my lighting. So, and I apologize about that. Apologize for the situation that we have ourselves here. Let me just try and get my notes here. I know you don't want to see my nose, so I don't want to give you those. But let me see here. What's this? Oh, no, that's not it. Where's my paper? Where is my lovely information? There's my lovely information with the technical difficulties that we're just having right now. So hopefully everything will be right as rain and we're ready to go. So once again, if you wish to follow, make a comment here on YouTube, and if you want to subscribe, of course, go ahead and subscribe here at the YouTube channel. Apologies for the technical difficulties of the camera. So we're going to hopefully get this thing fixed next time for the next show, and we can all have some fun. And, but once again, the show will go on, and we'll wait for my first guest if they do show up, and then we'll talk about it. Unfortunately, my opening monologue is now on hold, and all I can tell you, folks, is this, is that, well, let me just say this. This is what happens. We have a live show. Sometimes these issues happens, unfortunately. But once again, we just have to find a way to fix all of this and just take care of certain things. And hopefully all of this can go away and we can get back with the show. So I guess we will wait for my first guest, and hopefully that guest will show up as we get ready for tonight's show. Technical difficulties sometimes comes with the territory in this business when you're doing these things. I bet you watch all these different types of shows with StreamYard and with camera issues and everything. Look, I'm no stranger to it, neither are they. So we'll get into the show, and we'll hopefully be ready to go, and we're gonna have some fun here. So once again, it is a situation. Hopefully we've taken care of it. We're back on, and now we are just going to go ahead and start the show, and we are now ready to move forward as we go ahead and talk about the sponsor for tonight's show once again. Let me tell you all about this segment sponsor called Dino Luzzi Energy Drink. When I need that extra kick to power through match analysis and late night transfer rumors, there's only one energy drink that delivers authentic Italian energy, and that is Dino Luzzi. Crafted in Italy with the same passion I bring to this show, because real energy comes from real ingredients, just like real soccer talk comes from real insiders, and that is Dino Luzzi energy drink. So as we await for the first guest to show up, and we will wait for him to do that, but before he comes on, I might as well just go ahead and give all of you my opinions, obviously, about what I wanted to talk about. Now, as we are here to talk about something that's bothered me for a while now, because of a certain issue that popped up in soccer in Houston. Before we even get to that, let me just say this. In North American sports, whether it be Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the NBA, even the NFL, even though it's more radio than television, we have hometown announcers that we all loved watching as a kid growing up. Of course, in Major League Baseball, there was Mel Allen. There was, for the Yankees, there was Ernie Harwell for the Detroit Tigers. There was Ken Hawk Harrelson for the Chicago White Sox. Vin Scully for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And many other names, especially in the NBA, in the NHL, I should say. Of course, just recently retired. Sam Rosen of the New York Rangers. Bob Miller, who was, of course, the Hall of Fame broadcaster for the Los Angeles Kings. Mike Lang, long time ago, broadcast voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And even in the NBA, we had Marv Albert at the New York Knicks. Currently, we have Mike Breen. We have Chick Hearn that used to do the Los Angeles Lakers long, long time ago. Of course, he's no longer on this earth, unfortunately. And that also goes to Major League Soccer broadcasters. Men that if you supported a club and that club had these great names like Dave Johnson for DC United, Dwight Burgess for the Columbus Crew, and of course, Los Angeles Galaxy's own Joe Tutino. These are the men where you believe, I believe, and many of us believe they should never, ever lose that job, because they have the right to call it quits whenever they want to. One man that did not get that opportunity was Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis, who was for 20 years the play-by-play voice on television, and since the move to the Apple TV streaming service, on the radio, broadcasted Houston Dynamo soccer for 20 plus years. And not only was Glenn Davis the broadcaster for the Houston Dynamo, he has also done college soccer on ESPN. He has done MLS games back in the day on HD Net. He also operates and broadcasts locally on ESPN Radio in Houston, his Soccer Matters radio show. And as we turn to a new year here in America, in MLS, Glenn Davis was informed by the Houston Dynamo that he is no longer their radio play-by-play voice. The Houston soccer community has tragically lost a voice calling Dynamo games. And that makes me upset. And that makes me angry, because this man has dedicated himself to broadcasting the game, not just locally for Houston. He's also done it nationally and also internationally through ESPN through Fox Soccer Channel, HDNet. He was the voice for the 1997 U.S. Open Cup final between DC United and, at that time, the Dallas Burn, who are now FC Dallas. And that match was played in Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Mike, at the IUPUI campus, at the Mike Carroll Soccer Field and Track Stadium. To see this man thrown to the curb for no reason at all is a travesty. That man deserves carte blanche all over Houston. He deserves carte blanche all over Dynamo supporters, and they deserve better. Now, I will say this: whoever they select to take over for Glenn Davis in the radio booth, I wish him nothing but the best of luck. I wish him nothing but goodwill. I wish him nothing but, he does a great job calling Dynamo soccer games on the local radio so that you, the Dynamo supporters, can feel proud and happy that there will be a continuance of excellence, excuse me, in the radio booth. But to the ownership of the Dynamo, that is a grave mistake that you've made. To get rid of Glenn Davis for no reason whatsoever. I'm sorry. That is tragedy. It is tragic. It is stupid. This man deserves better for what he has done for soccer in Houston, for the Dynamo supporters, the entire soccer community. I know he'll still have his listeners on ESPN Radio Houston. I know he'll still have his listeners on the Soccer Matters radio show that he does in Houston. But not to have him calling Dynamo games anymore is terrible. I'm not wishing anyone to lose their jobs, but I will say this. If Fox, which they're still doing linear coverage for MLS games, even I would say, why not have him during the World Cup broadcast games? Have him for the World Cup. I believe it is right to have Glenn Davis to broadcast the World Cup games. It's right for Glenn Davis to have that opportunity because going on, it's wrong. Houston deserves better, and ownership has made a tremendous mistake for getting rid of Glenn Davis. I really believe it was the wrong thing to do. And I really believe that he deserves another opportunity to call matches for the Dynamo. Now, whether that will happen or not afterwards, we'll see what happens. But like I said before, the Dynamo fans deserve better. I hope they will get a good candidate out there. But I will say this for the person that will now be calling Dynamo games, you have a giant shoe to fill. You have a giant shoe to fill because Glenn Davis is one of the best. I equal him to Dave Johnson, to Dwight Burgess, and the many other announcers that are calling MLS matches, either were on TV and now on radio. So, like I said, I hope that everything will be okay with him. I know he'll be fine, I should say. I know he'll be fine. He has a Soccer Matters radio show. I know he'll be heavily in tune during the World Cup. So all I can say is, Glenn, I'm sorry this happened to you. I wish this didn't happen to you. You are one of the best guys in this industry, broadcasting soccer, talking soccer on sports radio talk. But personally, it's a tragedy, and it is just terrible that this had to happen to you, and I really wish it didn't. So good luck to you, Glenn, with the radio show for ESPN Radio Houston. And obviously, you'll probably be with ESPN for college soccer as well. But still, though, I just feel Dynamo games will be different, and you should have at least be on the radio right now, getting ready for preseason for the Dynamo over at Shell Energy Stadium in downtown Houston to start the season next month on the February 21st. So we'll see what happens then. But unfortunately, look, this is the business. It happens. It doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right at all. But Glenn Davis, once again, I feel that what happened to him was wrong, and it should never have happened at all. And like I said, I hope, I know he'll be fine. He'll be okay. But once again, it's just a situation where that should never have happened. And I just feel Glenn Davis deserves better from the Dynamo. And I know that the Houston Dynamo community will be there to support him on and on and on. So we shall see what happens. We shall see what he will do. But once again, like I've already said, for Glenn Davis, what happened to him was just not right. The man is a staple of the community. The man is a staple of soccer in Houston. And not recommitting to him was a mistake. And that's how I feel personally. And like I said, I wish no ill will to the new guy who's going to take over. I wish the new guy no ill will whatsoever, because my anger is not towards him. And I want every Houston Dynamo fan to understand this. Whoever the new person is, do not let him have it. Do not harass him. Do not bother him. It's not his fault. It's not his doing. This is squarely on the feet of ownership of the Dynamo for being short-sighted on a living legend like Glenn Davis, who has done nothing but plant the flag for the sport in this country, who has also planted the other flag for the city of Houston and for the Dynamo to be recognized wholeheartedly. I hope, who knows, depending on whoever's not going to come back, or if MLS or whoever MLS decides to, whatever happens with any of the broadcasters for the MLS content on Apple Plus, on Apple TV. If Glenn Davis gets selected for it, I say go for it, Glenn. I say go for it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my first guest tonight is the one and only person who does analyzing for Atlanta United Soccer on 92.9 FM The Game, and that is Mr. Jason Longshore. Jay, welcome back to the show. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on again. It's great to see you again. So, Tata Martino has returned to Atlanta United, and even though he only has Miguel Almiron back from his original stint with Atlanta United, what is the feeling you believe about Tata returning? And do you feel everything will be righted on the ship and maybe we might see a wrinkle or two?
I'm really interested to see what it looks like. I mean, last year was such a strange season for Atlanta United, because you look at the just the flow of the way the year went. Atlanta comes into the year after bringing Miggy back, after going out and spending the money on Emmanuel Latte-Lat. This was a team that pretty much everybody nationally and locally had as a contender to win MLS Cup. Anywhere between first and sixth in the East generally was kind of where it was ranked. And it never played out that way. And a lot of it really had to do with not taking advantage of opportunities. You look at, and I don't always subscribe to XG, but you look at XG both for and against this team last year, and their results should have been dramatically different. And it comes down to execution. And he didn't execute well enough. And that's ultimately why Ronnie Dyla loses the job and Tata Martino gets the opportunity to come back, when at one point it looked like he was headed to LAFC, according to reports out of South America. So there's been some moves that feel like Tata kind of moves. Thomas Jakob comes in from Necaxa. He developed at Newell's Old Boys. You get a veteran goalkeeper in Lucas Hoyos, who comes in an interesting situation here in Atlanta, because we've never had this conversation. It's always been Brad Kazan. Now it's either Lucas Hoyos or Jaden Hibbert. And you're talking about a veteran versus an up-and-comer. Who's going to win the job? I don't know yet. Bartosz Slisz is out, and I thought Slisz was Atlanta's best player last season. A move for him to go back to Brøndby and go back to Europe and go to Brøndby, I think, puts him a little bit better spot for the Polish national team as they get ready for World Cup qualifying playoffs and hopefully for the World Cup. So going to be interesting to see where all of this goes with Tata Martino. I think it's still a little up in the air what it's going to look like at this stage.
What was the reason? Obviously, I guess what Arthur Blank just wanted somebody familiar to him, familiar with Atlanta. Bring back someone that knows what we want, that knows that what we're looking for, knows about the passion of wearing the five stripes and putting it all out on the pitch at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Is that what Arthur Blank wanted from him?
I'm sure that's part of it. Arthur Blank's been busy on his sports properties as of late. A new coach for the Atlanta Falcons as well. And a different kind of hire there. He went with somebody who had some success in another place, but not a big name. Not a huge name anyway, I guess is maybe fair to say about Kevin Stefanski. With Martino, he was available. It kind of lined up, first off. He was always highly thought of. I think everybody in the league that has interacted with him, everybody in South America that's interacted with him, very highly thought of manager. When he's available, you have to check the pulse of that situation. And it just lined up. It just lined up to make sense. Go back to last year, honestly. Go back to last year when Ronnie Dyla ended up getting the job. And you look at the candidates that, were mentioned around that time. Dyla was the one who fit the bill that Garth Lagerwey laid out about somebody who had won before and had won trophies. And he won 3 different leagues. So it was surprising that you were in this situation a year later, but you are. But I do think it comes down to you want somebody who can win in this environment. And Tata Martino has shown that he can do that. And I think, it doesn't hurt that obviously there is a emotional connection with him in the city, with the fan base in him. That helps a ton. But I don't think that was the only reason why the hire was made. I think he's a very qualified candidate, and he's had success in this league in 2 different places now. And he's available. You make the move.
No, absolutely. But do you think there might be some tinkering going on here? Do you think Tata Martino will stick to what he's basically known for? The type of game plan that he's used to going with Miami or with Barcelona, in South America. Where do you think you're going to see Tata Martino? He's going to stick with the same old, same old? Do you think he might tinker around a little bit? Because, like I said, you're not seeing Josef Martinez anymore. Miguel's there. Brad's gone, like you said. What do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah, Tata Martino's Barcelona team didn't look like his Miami team, which didn't look like his Atlanta team. So I think he's not a rigid kind of manager to begin with. I asked him, when he spoke to the media last week, I said, with your experience since leaving Atlanta, has your game model, have you started to think differently about the way you want to see your team play philosophically? And he said no. Again, obviously, there's going to be differences based on the players you have, but he wants to be a protagonist. He wants the ball. He wants Atlanta to dictate the way the game turns out, and that's consistent across his teams. You can get there a lot of different ways. You can get there in a lot of different styles, but he doesn't want to be a sit back, let the opponent have the ball, sit back, let the opponent dictate the match. He wants to be in control of his own destiny. So you're going to see a team that, frankly, Atlanta United has always been that kind of team from when Tata was here and when he wasn't here. They've never been a defend and counter team outside of the time that Rob Valentino didn't have really any strikers to work with at the end of 2024. This is a team that will always want the ball, and that suits Tata Martino. So, will it be what we saw? Because you have to go back and look at 2017 and 2018. And I think having gone through it and living all of those matches at that time, 2017 and the way Atlanta United looked really through that run of games they had at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in late 2017, where they were blowing people out. Really through that, they hit a wall because they had a bunch of games in a short period of time with the opening of the stadium delayed a little bit. So you had a bunch of midweek games kind of catching up on that. And the team kind of ran out of legs a little bit late in that season. But you look at 2018, they, especially in the postseason, were never a defend and counter team. But were they a not press as high team? Yes. Were they a little more conservative? Yes. Did they go to a 3 center back setup that at times would look like a line of 5? Yes. So I think, when you look at Tata Martino and the way that he has his teams play, he is that combination of, he's always going to want to be the protagonist. He's always going to want to dictate the way the game turns out and not have to sit and hope. But he will combine that with a little bit of a pragmatic streak of, and I don't say pragmatic in terms of being defensive. I say pragmatic in terms of, this is what I have to work with. I've got this guy playing really well. I've got this position where I'm a little thin. I got to juggle the pieces together to get where I want to get here. And he's willing to do that. He's not married to playing 4-3-3. He's not married to playing 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. What do I have? What's going to be the best way to get the most talent on the field and play the way that we want to play and dictate the way the game turns out? Let's go. It's that kind of pragmatism.
No, I agree. And, like I said, it's going to feel pretty good to see Atlanta United, have someone familiar on the pitch in the technical area that he knows what he wants to do. And obviously Arthur Blank's going to feel comfortable because he knows he has him there knowing what he knows what to do. So it's going to be exciting to see that for this upcoming season. So, we're almost there, Jay, the World Cup, a couple months away, June. We're in January at the moment, so we're in the first J of 3 months. Soon the second J will be coming in. And so tell me, what is going on in Atlanta? You feel the energy? Obviously, we know the energy for Atlanta United is always in there, but how's the World Cup coming over there? And people can't wait, I bet.
Yeah, it's coming together well. It's been kind of a wild ride to get to this point. Atlanta United, this is year 10. So I grew up in Atlanta. So I've seen Atlanta evolve from when I was a kid not having a professional soccer team to when I was graduating high school. We had the Atlanta Ruckus in the A-League, and that turned into the Silverbacks that were around for quite a while in the USL and then later the second NASL. And it always needed that person or that thing to take it up a notch to be able to take advantage of all of the opportunity here and all of the seeds that had been planted by all of these different teams. You go back to the Atlanta Chiefs back historically, and Arthur Blank was that person. So part of him becoming that person and taking on soccer in Atlanta and building what he's built has been all the rest of it. I mean, just think about this. There were people in 2014 when Atlanta United, when Atlanta MLS was announced, before it was Atlanta United. There were people who said it would never work. There were people who were very negative about Atlanta coming into Major League Soccer. If they did not, you would not have what is happening. I think what's happening in Miami, for example, where you have an ownership group that is extremely aggressive in being bold and being ambitious. Atlanta United came in and was bold and ambitious straight out of the gate. LAFC, another one who came in right after Atlanta United. I think they saw some of the things that Atlanta did and said, hey, we can do it our way. Let's go. Charlotte and Nashville in the league, their success, both were accelerated once you saw what happened in Atlanta. Oh, by the way, you wouldn't have U.S. Soccer having a national headquarters either if Arthur Blank didn't cut a check and bring U.S. Soccer to town. And you wouldn't have a stadium that is one of the best in the world that's going to host a World Cup semifinal if Arthur Blank hadn't been thinking outside the box at that time of, we need a venue that can be soccer just as much as American football. People always have it twisted where they say that it's an American football stadium and soccer is a secondary tenant. No. It is 1A, 1B. They are at the same level, and the stadium was built with soccer in mind and these kinds of things like 2026 and hopefully 2031, where I think Atlanta's going to be in the mix to host the World Cup final in the Women's World Cup. It's such a special time, and to see all of the growth. I mean, going back to when I was a kid, seeing all the growth is insane. Going back just 10 years and thinking about where we were going into 2016 here in Atlanta. We didn't have a professional team in 2016. The Silverbacks did not have an owner, and the league, the NASL, did not fund them for the 2016 season. So we didn't have a pro team. We had the academy get started in the summer and play their first games early in the fall of 2016. I didn't have a stadium at that time. It was being built. It was such a different time. And just now, I mean, I did Georgia high school state championships in the summer of 2017, and I did them last year, and seeing the level of play, seeing the level of excitement at the high school level, seeing the growth at the college level in the state of Georgia, seeing the growth at the grassroots level with UPSL and NPSL and WPSL and all of the leagues and teams that call not just the Atlanta area home, but the state home. It's such a cool time to see all this. And now it all feels like a sprint to the summer with the World Cup. I think Atlanta's in a good position to be one of the big stars of this hosting group of cities, just because I love that Spain is coming here to start. Spain is the favorite coming into this tournament. It's very cool that Atlanta gets them for their first two games. You're going to see, I mean, the best team in the world coming into the tournament. If things go well, you could have Argentina and England for 2 games each in the knockout rounds, and that could be your semifinal on that side of the bracket is Argentina, England. That's insane. That would blow my mind if that happens at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And you're going to have some other really cool stories too. I mean, Cabo Verde is going to make their World Cup debut here in Atlanta. You're going to have Uzbekistan playing a game that could decide if they get into the knockout rounds here in Atlanta. You're going to have Morocco, who is an outside, kind of favorite sort of level team. I think they're a top 10 team. They should be in the final 8 of the tournament. If things go well, they can go even further. They'll be here. I think Haiti in Atlanta is going to be an amazing story against Morocco. That game is going to be such a cool experience here. It's just such a special time because I think Atlanta is going to end up being a hub for a lot of people with the World Cup. It's such an easy city to get to. It's such an easy city to fly to other World Cup cities and back from. It's just going to be such a cool experience to have the world here again. And how cool is it that it's going to be 30 years after the Olympics was here? That's another little bonus of timing that this is going to be. I mean, I grew up here, and I've seen Atlanta grow from a city that was seemingly on par with Birmingham and Nashville and Charlotte in the 80s to a city that hosted the Olympics, And it took a while after that to really take the mantle of being an international city like it has. It took a minute. The Olympics was a huge deal here and a huge driver for Atlanta's perception internationally. The World Cup is going to completely blow that into a whole nother level. And I think Atlanta and the time for Atlanta to get, I think, the respect it deserves, whether we're talking in the soccer conversation here in Atlanta, in the United States, or in the Western Hemisphere, or worldwide, and just the respect it deserves as an international city. I think there's going to be a very different perception of the city coming out of the World Cup than right now. And that's a really cool opportunity that I hope gets fully realized.
Yep, same here. I hope so too. Anything for soccer down here while we're at it? What's they got lined up for that department for you?
All the things. It's almost Georgia high school season. We'll be doing matches all over the state of Georgia for that starting here in just a couple of weeks. We have a cool partnership with Soccer Down Here in the SDH network and 92.9 The Game, where Atlanta United matches are broadcast. My show there on Tuesday nights, it'll come on at 10 o'clock tonight. That's expanding to 2 hours. It was the number one show in its time slot in the fourth quarter of 2025 in all of Atlanta radio for adults ages 25 to 54. A soccer
Awesome.
show. A specific, a very specific show was number one for adults 25 to 54 in the city of Atlanta. If you ever wondered if Atlanta is a soccer city, that is your answer. So that show is expanding starting tonight. I've got an interview that myself and Madison Cruz did with Brad Kazan. I think it's his first extended interview after he retired. We talk about kind of where he is right now, what he's looking to do in 2026. AST, that show is going to be nightly during the World Cup starting June 1st. So it's going to be a very busy year on the Atlanta United front, on the local grassroots front, on the World Cup front. We've got NWSL coming here in a couple of years. We're going to be telling that story in the run up to that. So it's just a really exciting time. We've done a lot of, I think, expansion and a lot of real strategic thought about what we want soccer down here and by nature of that, like what we want our soccer coverage on 92.9 to be. And I think we've really settled into a nice spot of being an outlet that provides context, that tries to stay away from hot takes and emotional reactions and like performative, clips and stuff. It's much more about context, why it matters, the global nature of it, and connecting all the dots between Atlanta and the US and the hemisphere and the world. And it's been really well received. So hopefully we can continue to do more of it and continue to grow.
Absolutely. Jay, if you need me anytime, you always let me know. I appreciate you coming on as always. You tell Boomer I said hi, and he's got to call me. Okay.
I will. I'm introducing Boomer to our beer collaboration with NoFo Brewing here at some point in the next few weeks. Around the corner lager. He's going to get to taste it for the first time.
And he'll be under the table in 5 seconds. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, probably 10. Probably 10. He'll get a beer in him. He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. That's fine. Jay, as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And tell Mike I also said hi, and good luck. Hope to see you down here when you get that chance, okay?
Yeah, we'll be down this year, I think, after the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even know the schedule outside of the first couple of weeks. So we'll be down there.
That's all right. We'll take your time. We'll meet up, I promise. Awesome. You take care and have a good night, my friend. Thanks a lot.
You too. Thanks.
And once again, Jason Longshore, he is the radio analyst for Atlanta United at 92.9 FM The Game. If you are an Atlanta soccer fan, listen to his show tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. It should be a fun time going for it. And as we're going to finish up the show, I really wanted to talk about this because this really was amazing. Now, I know it's not American soccer. It's out of the perusal of the show. But, I really want to talk about this because this really made me upset. This really concerned me. And when we talk about the game, and not just in this country, but around the world, obviously, and in the United States, we have tons of people who have immigrated from all these other countries. And being from New York City myself, I keep saying this. They say the United Nations is on First Avenue on 42nd Street. No, the New York City is the United Nations. We have people from around the globe who have immigrated and living here in New York City. And of course, every major city around this country. Because obviously it's great to see Senegal celebrating winning the African Cup of Nations. And when it comes to these other tournaments, whether it be from Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, the Oceania Confederation, including the Gold Cup, you want to see a fantastic championship final. And what I saw was an absolute disgrace because the game was competitive. The game was fantastic. But the shenanigans that I saw, the shenanigans that I had to watch, not just from what Senegal did, but what Morocco did. And I understand you can't blame Senegal. They had every right to be upset, every right to complain. And I'm like, no, they have every right to complain. Senegal has every right to complain about how they've been treated in that final in Morocco against the Moroccan national team, the Moroccan FA, the ball boys, the stewards, everyone. Everyone. But to see them upset because of a VAR call, which, look, I understand they were upset. They had a legitimate goal taken away by VAR because they were claiming of a foul by them against Hakimi in the Moroccan area. Okay, fine. Be upset. I understand. And then they get originally a no call in their area, but then you see the replay of the Senegalese defender grabbing the Moroccan attacker, which was Biram Diaz. He got grabbed by the neck shoulder area and he was hauled down. Now, was it light? Was it weak? Fine. Say whatever you want. But the point is, the Senegalese defender put himself in that position and grabbed Diaz and hauled him down. And yes, it was originally a no call. And then the VAR steps in and says, tells the referee, go back to the monitor, take a look. He did. And he said penalty after looking at the monitor. And look, I don't blame Senegal for being upset, losing a goal for no reason. But that was a reason that VAR had to intervene, unfortunately. And so they protested, they complained, they argued, they yelled, screamed, and then they walked off the pitch and went right into the locker room. That was wrong. You have every right to be upset. You have every right to complain. You have every right to say this is not what it should have been. How come you didn't leave our goal alone? Why are you giving them a penalty? Look, I understand all that, and Senegal has every right to complain about that. But when you walk off the pitch and you go straight back to the locker room with your coaches, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That is wrong. And then you hope that your goalkeeper will make the save from the penalty. And he did. Because Diaz tried the Panenka and he screwed it up. He screwed it up and he got what he deserved. Because you don't do a Panenka in a final. Or or you crossed yourself and you screwed it up, well, that's still your fault, Diaz, isn't it? But I will also say this, and this is what really also makes me mad with Morocco. Out of every competition, they have shown improvement from the youth to the senior side. We praised Morocco for their improvements in their football on the international stage, the Under-20 World Cup, the Under-17 World Cup, the Olympics, the World Cup in Qatar 4 years ago. They showed improvement, and they nearly went to the final. Unfortunately, lost to France. And they won the third place match. And you're riding high. You're riding high. You're doing everything and anything the right way until you created Towelgate. Why did you create Towelgate? Why did you have to continue not just what happened in the semifinal, but apparently all throughout the match? Players, ball boys, stewards, you intentionally stole the towels of the goalkeepers that Morocco played against, and you took it away from them as some form of an advantage, so they can, dry the sweat off of their face, so that they can dry their gloves. I mean, what are we doing here? And then you have a defender standing in front of the backup goalkeeper of Senegal to prevent him from what? For handing him the towel to his starter? Why? Why? And then you have ball boys going after the Senegal backup to steal the towel. Why? And when they try to haul him down and trap him on the pitch, outside of the line, of the end line, and try to steal the towel, and then he just grabs it and he runs away and you're chasing after him? Why? What purpose does that serve? Why are we doing this? Why are you trying to pull something so stupid and so childish? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a freaking towel. Why are you doing this? And then you have the stewards also stealing the towels. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen this before. I mean, look, there's gamesmanship, but that's stupid. And what did Morocco show us? Not just African football, but the entire world. What did they show us? All of the positives that Morocco built to get to this point. Morocco has upsetted the global football. You put yourselves in a position where you are being ridiculed right now. And thankfully now, we saw Hakimi apologize on social media. We have also seen a video of the captain of Morocco going to the hotel of where Senegal was staying after winning the African Cup of Nations and apologizing to a member of the Senegal national team. Saving face. And now you're having a politician from Morocco claiming black magic was done in the Senegal locker room to make Diaz miss his Panenka penalty, and also blaming the referee. Can't do that. And I want the politicians in Morocco to understand this. You don't like what happened? You know what? Look at your own house. Look into your own soccer house, your own football house. This is the crap that your FA did. And if not your FA, then the FA's head coach for the men's team and his players and the ball boys and the stewards. You're not supposed to have that type of advantage in a confederational tournament that is run by CAF, by the Confederation of Africanized Football. Cannot happen. It should not happen. You know, I complain about the Gold Cup being in the USA each and every year, once every 2 years. It's always in the US. Once in a while, or barely once in a while, it'll be played in Mexico, or Mexico will have a home match, or now Canada's going to have one home match before they come to the US. I have been saying CONCACAF has to rotate the tournament, but the problem is there's not enough better stadiums to support what is going on outside of the North Zone. Canada can do it now, and I think Canada should host a tournament on its own. Mexico can do it. The U.S. can do it. Costa Rica needs another new stadium. I think also, how you call it? You know, Honduras needs new stadiums. Stadiums are needed outside of the national team stadium so that these Gold Cups can be played outside the U.S. And we'll never have that until these FAs in these Caribbean islands, if they're able to do so to build a brand new stadium, go for it. If you're even in the Central American countries, if you're able to do so, do it. If CONCACAF and FIFA wants to donate money to these FAs to build a better stadium to make it more than just a national stadium, then do it. I mean, something's got to give. But Morocco, after everything that you've done to build yourself into this new footballing power in Africa, and then you show this, you show all of this to the world of what you're doing, the sportsmanship, the bad sportsmanship crap. And somehow you get the CAF FIFA or the CAF Fair Play Award? Where? This can't happen. It should not happen. You know, with all the sportsmanship or the gamesmanship going on in world football, this has gone way too far. And also, I've seen this happen as well, especially in CONCACAF Champions Cup play or Champions League or CONCACAF Champions League play. Every time I've seen this, sometimes these Mexican clubs, who are obviously better than MLS clubs, but how many times have I seen, and I've seen this against the Red Bulls in the semifinal second leg, back at Red Bull Arena, where they took on Guadalajara, Chivas of Guadalajara. And every time the Red Bulls had a throw-in, you saw Mexican players running towards Red Bull players who are trying to throw the ball back in. They're running towards them, and they're jumping up to interfere with the throw-in. I've seen it a couple of times. And I thought, you know, that type of stuff ended, but no, it continued there. Back in 2018, I believe. And to see that happen in front of my eyes, in the press box of Red Bull Arena, I complained about that. Where's the fair play here? Is that fair play? Is that laws of the game? I mean that's interference. And then we saw it another time in Europe, where, you know, the referee had no choice but to give a yellow card to the player, preventing the throw-in to return. You'll never see that in CONCACAF because the referees don't want to bother giving disciplined yellow cards to those players that should have been booked. I mean, you're seeing a throw-in being prevented because the guy for the opposition is in front of the throw-in taker, so close to the end, to the touch line, that he had no choice but to throw it at the guy, hit him in the shoulder, but he pretended he got hit in the face. Referee saw it and he said, okay, that's it, yellow card. You'll never see that in CONCACAF. You will never, ever see a referee in CONCACAF, whether, for CONCACAF Champions Cup, who decides to intentionally run towards the throw-in taker and try to block him from throwing the ball back into play. That should be an automatic yellow card, whether he actually did create the infraction or not. If I was the referee, I would just be like, oh, that's it. No warning. Or if you want, one warning. And this is what it is. One warning. And if it's the same guy or a different guy doing the same thing, don't give the second guy a warning. Nope. Yellow card. And if the manager is upset about it, then the referee's going to the manager and you tell the manager, I'm sorry. That's against the laws of the game. That should not be happening. So don't come here and tell me, well, he didn't do it, or he did it, but he didn't really make contact with the ball. He made contact with the throw-in taker. I don't care. That's against the laws of the game. That should not be any warnings. That should be an automatic yellow card. If I see it as a referee, yellow card, you got it. Anyone else does it, I give you a yellow card too. And if anyone after that does it again, I don't care if it's the same guy or a different guy. I'll give the first one a yellow card. I'll give the second one a yellow card. Oh, the third guy's going to do it? You know what? Red card. I'll do it. And the referee should as well, because that's the type of shenanigans we do not need in our game. I don't care if it happens down in Mexico. It shouldn't happen at all. It shouldn't happen, period. And I will also say this. If I see the opposition that was, if that particular team decides to, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I won't give the yellow card. But I will tell them, okay, you're not getting a yellow card. But if someone else does it, they will. Because good for the goose is good for the gander. But if I have to be, consistent, then so be it. I'll give the other team a yellow card as well. I'll let them know. This is your first yellow. Don't make me give a second. If there's another one doing it, I'll give them a second. And I'll tell them, don't do a third, because I'll give a red card for the next person, or for you, or for the other one that I booked. Because we cannot have shenanigans like this involved in the game. And, look, Johnny Infantino, I understand you were upset Senegal left the pitch in protest. I know you're upset they went back to their locker room, okay? And I understand that. But I'm sorry. I know this is CAF's tournament, but you were asked to hand the trophy to Senegal. You should have done that, okay? I know you're upset they left the pitch in protest and they went back to the locker room, but I'm sorry. You should have gone and handed that trophy to Senegal and then just walk off. That's all. Just say, congratulations. Here's a quick handshake. Here's the trophy. Thank you. Because even though that was disgraceful by Senegal, which I understand, they were upset, they were frustrated, they were angry, and they have every right to be angry for what's been going on. But I do agree they should never have left the pitch. But Morocco deserves anything and everything thrown at them. And they also deserve punishment for what they've done. They deserve punishment for what they have done. Now, do they still go to the World Cup? That's out of my perusal. I'm not here to say what should or shouldn't happen. But if FIFA did decide to throw out Morocco out of this World Cup, even though they qualified for it because of their actions in the African Cup of Nations, which they were the host country as well, it's up to them if they want to do it. If they do it, so be it. I'm not here to jump on that soapbox. But I'm not happy with what Morocco has done because we've praised you. We've praised you for the excellence in international football in the men's and the youth. We want to see you do it fair and square. But after what you guys did in the African Cup of Nations, I'm sorry. It is wrong. That is wrong. You made yourselves look like fools. You embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed the game. You embarrassed African football. You embarrassed your own country. That should never have happened. Gamesmanship is one thing. Stupidity is another. And I feel bad because what are you teaching the next level of Moroccan footballers? What are you teaching them? Steal a towel? Disrupt the goalkeeper? Do this, do that. You're going to be the next great Moroccan footballer? No, you can't do that. You cannot do that. It's really disheartening to see that happen. It's really disheartening to see, Senegal getting punished for basically, or being scolded because they left the pitch in protest, when Morocco, which they're also getting scolded too, but FIFA's got to do better. And I also think CAF has to do something too. This is their tournament. They have to go out there and they have to make a rule. And look, I think the next African Cup of Nations, which is coming very soon, which will be in 2027, because it's a biannual event, just like the Gold Cup is in CONCACAF. I think Morocco needs to be suspended for these types of shenanigans. I feel that's what has to happen, and I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, but they proved. Look what they did. And yeah, now Hakimi feels bad about it. Now the Moroccan captain feels bad about it. They apologize. Moroccan captain apologized once again to the Senegal national team. Hakimi said, "That's not who I am. I've never liked this. I did out of the whole competition." Fine, you want to apologize. Good, we accept your apology, Hakimi. But still, though, what you did was wrong. Nonchalantly going towards Senegal's net and taking the towel away from the starting goalkeeper and throwing it away. Thankfully for his teammates, they got the towel back and gave it to him. Those ball boys and those stewards should also be suspended for working any international match involving Morocco's men's national team, women's national team, or even a youth game. Those stewards should be fired for their hand in the towel gate that shouldn't have happened. There has to be some form of suspension. At least. If there's going to be African Cup of Nations qualifiers, Morocco should at least be suspended for a couple of games, or they should at least start off with how many games they've done it in the African Cup of Nations? What is it? 6 games they might have done it, or 3 games, 4 games, whatever. Start them with a -9 before African Cup of Nations qualifying begins. Because that's not right. And I'm sorry, if you're a Moroccan supporter, look, I don't want to be this mean. I don't want to be upset about this. I don't want to have to say these things, but the FA has to be, the Moroccan FA has to be responsible for the stupidity that they did to the goalkeepers in the African Cup of Nations, the tournament which they were the host nation. Because now everyone's upset. Global football fans are upset. And there's got to be punishment. There has to be. And people are upset about their fair play award. That shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. Well, that'll do for tonight's show. Yes, I originally had a gentleman scheduled to come on tonight to talk about the Revolution, but unfortunately, it looks like he was not able to make it tonight. So hopefully, we will reschedule with him to come back on the show, and he can join us and talk about the Revolution. So we'll see about that next time. But once again, I want to thank my guests tonight, which is, of course, Jason Longshore from 92.9 FM The Game, as well as Soccer Down Here. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. Once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties with the camera connection. I got to go check my equipment to make sure that will never happen again. And so we'll have another flawless show coming for you next week. But once again, my name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you for watching me tonight. And as always, please, 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 please enjoy your football. Thank you. Take care. So long. And have a good night. And bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.